Well, we are live. Everybody, hello. Let me change that to public so that everybody can join us. Well, here we are, folks. We are going to have a good time today. It is Friday. It is Friday. And if you've had the week the kind of week that I've had, you're like, oh, please, let's just have a good time. Let's just forget about all the other craziness that's going on in the world, all the stress that's going on in the world, all the aggravations that might be going on at work or whatever, and just sit back, relax. And now we're going to scare the hell out of you because we're going to talk about zombies. So, hey, that's what we do here. That's what we do. But anyway, today's topic, as you know, it is Paranormal Fridays. Yes, I do have a collar on, and yes, I do know that I'm clergy. But I love the paranormal. I love the paranormal because the paranormal is the unexplained. And that's what I really love about it. I just love. What does that mean? Super sticker. All right. That's the first time I've ever seen that. Okay. That's interesting. I don't know that, but all right. And hello to all you guys. I appreciate for those of you who are on TikTok. Howdy to you. And for our moderators, hello to you. And for those of you who are on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, and of course on KGRADB, hello to you as well. I want to remind everybody that if you love the paranormal as much as I do, then you need to do yourself a favor and you need to go to the website, kgradb.com. And you need to make sure you sign up today. Use the code BISHOP. That's going to give you 30% off your subscription. Look, subscription there is already cheap as it is. But if you're getting kind of tired of the same old recycled shows, you know what I mean, on paranormal, well, there's a lot of shows that are on this website, including the Sacred Division. And so there's a lot of really, really cool shows there. But you can go to kgradb.com, kgradb.com, and make sure you subscribe today, but make sure you put the promo code BISHOP in there. You want to make sure you save 30% off. Doesn't hurt you. It always helps. Hey, you save any money, that's a good thing today. Also, I do actually have a podcast. This is airing right now live on Spreaker. And, but I think, I'm going to check this out because isn't that terrible? I don't know if it's Spreaker.com/Bishop James Long. I don't know. I'm not very good. No, it's not. I'm not very good when it comes to promoting and all that stuff. Okay, there it is. It's a Spreaker.com/user/Bishop James Long. That's what it is. So I have all my shows on podcast there. It's also, I think they do it on our iHeartRadio and Spotify and UFI and WeFi and the whatever FI. But anyway, you can go to Spreaker.com/user/Bishop James Long. Bishop James Long, all one word. And there you go. So you can check that out. I do have all the shows, including the Bible study and night prayer. They're listed. The Bible study, Sacred Division, and night prayer is listed. Okay, so again, Spreaker.com/user/Bishop James Long. Also, don't forget, make sure you do yourself a favor and go to BishopJamesLong.com. Yep, definitely go to the store link. We do have the Benedictine bracelets available, and make sure you pick yours up today, and I will send that out to you. And just click on the store link. All right, and that is what we're going to Norway. Well, hello, and what I love about doing this, and I love presenting these presentations to you guys, is because people are all over the world. That's what I love about this. I truly love it. Now, are they blessed? Okay, when you buy, no, but I will bless them for you as a courtesy. So you cannot buy blessed items. That's called simony. And so anybody who does that, you just run away from. But what I do is I bless them as a courtesy to you, because I know that a lot of people don't maybe not have clergy to bless items for, and that's okay. I understand that. So as a courtesy to you, if you purchase an item, I will bless that for you, and I send it out to you. It's just something that I try to do as a courtesy, and whatever. So that's what I do. So you can go to bishopjameslong.com. That is the website, bishopjameslong.com. Well, thank you very much, Arlene. He has a nice website. Well, thank you. I appreciate that very, very much. Also, don't forget, everybody, go again, kgradb.com, kgradb.com. Please don't forget that. And subscribe. Use Bishop as the promo code. All right, Bishop is the promo code. And if you want to check out our church, if you're interested, you want to know a little bit more about me, well, you can go to US or the church, preferably, usocc.org. All right, usocc.org. Many people are first-time viewers here, or wherever, maybe YouTube and Twitter. A lot of people will remember me through the Ghost Adventures Bobby Mackey's episodes. I did 3 episodes with the Ghost Adventures at Bobby Mackey's, and I'm friends with Zach. A lot of people, either you like Zach or you don't, but I'm friends with Zach. I like Zach, but Zach is a businessman too, and he truly does love the paranormal. He's been able to make a great living doing something he loves, which is producing and, of course, editing and things of this nature. Now, I will tell you, people ask me all the time. People were asking me earlier if I would briefly comment about the Bobby Mackeys. So I'm going to briefly talk about that just for a couple seconds, and then we're going to get into our topic today, which is zombies, fact or fiction. And, well, Serbia. Well, welcome, Serbia. And then, by the way, next week, for those of you who are just joining us, next week we're going to be talking about black-eyed kids. That is a topic that is creepy as heck. And there's a lot of people that are reporting this. There's a lot of people reporting this even now. When I started, 35 years ago, but when I went public with the ministry 20 years ago, there were some reports. It was sporadic, but it seems like a lot of people are reporting this now. So we are going to be talking about the black-eyed kids next week. And then the week after that, we're going to be talking about real-life ghost stories from all over the world. And I'll be presenting these ghost stories to you, and it's pretty crazy stuff. Pretty crazy stuff. So we are definitely, the Serpent and the Rainbow. Boy, that's a creepy movie, isn't it? That really is. That's a very, very creepy movie. Yeah. But okay, very, very briefly about Bobby Mackey's. People were asking me what you saw on television with the Bobby Mackey's Ghost Adventures. Was that real? Let me just tell you this. I don't work for Bobby Mackey's, and I don't work for Ghost Adventures. I'm friends with Zach, but I'm not an employee. I will tell you straightforward, if I never experienced something, I will tell you I never experienced something. But I will tell you the experience that we had at Bobby Mackey's, it shook the very foundation of, at that time, Nick, Aaron, and Zach. It shook them dramatically. It was severe. Not just a little bit, severe. I was there. I witnessed the whole thing. I saw things that they did not air that I won't talk about. But I will tell you that what you saw on the Bobby Mackey's episodes, I was present. So I experienced these things as well. I validated. Let me tell you this. I will never, ever be a part of a show that will fake evidence or that will not really tell the truth, that will kind of flower it up a little bit, if you will. If just make it. No, I have no desire to be a part of any type of show that if I can't validate this, then I don't want to be a part of it. Yeah, because again, I don't do this for pay. I've never been paid. So if I tell you something, if I tell you this is what I experienced, then there is no, you should know by now that there is no ulterior motive, because I don't get paid for it. Now, if I got paid for it, then you can say, well, he's just trying to do it, sensationalize it to sell a book or to sell. I don't sell anything. I'm not making any money. So if I tell you something, by now I've established my credibility very clearly in the paranormal. And I know that I have, because I've been in the paranormal for so long. And people can say whatever they want to about Bishop Long, but one thing they can't say is that I haven't established credibility. And if I tell you that this happened or that did not happen, then you can take it to the bank because there is no ulterior motive. So I will tell you this. Bobby Mackey's did not affect me in a negative way because I am used to demonic attack. I've been trained, so I was fully prepared for what could happen. But I will tell you that when Zach and Aaron, I think they wanted to see something and they wanted to experience something, and they did. They did. Nick, you could tell he was shaken up, but he was startled. But Nick, he was composed. But Aaron had a total breakdown, and this was not filmed. He had a complete breakdown during a particular part when we were there in the third episode when I performed the minor rite of exorcism there. Something changed with Aaron dramatically. I mean, we were when I was at the well and I was performing the blessing. And then I told them from the very beginning, and this was not filmed. I said, guys, do not run off. And no matter what you hear, no matter what you see, do not run away from me, because if I'm here and I got two of you here and someone else runs off here, now I'm going to be worried about the person who's run off. Well, we were at the well, and Zach heard this. We all heard the growl. I mean, this growl was very clear. It came from the back room, and he darted right there because he's a filmmaker. I mean, he wanted to capture what was that growl, and I understand that. But at the same time, he really was under severe attack. When he went back to that room, he came back. He was pale as a ghost. It was something really bad happened when he went back to that room, and then he came back to the well, and he said, "Did you hear that? Did you hear?" And he went and he came back. I knew then, okay, we have a major problem here. We went back to that room. Zach kept, kind of shaking his head. I mean, he could kind of shaking the cobwebs away. Aaron is a type of guy. Aaron is a very kind-hearted person, very kind. If you ever get the chance to meet Aaron, he's just one of those happy-go-lucky type of individuals. But when he kept filming me when we were back there and with the camera, he kept doing this, and then kind of going back here and looking at, and then looking over and looking at me, glaring. It was glaring. It was no longer interested in capturing. There was something not right. And I knew then that we had problems. And that's when I was like, okay, now I have Zach who's under attack. And now Aaron was giving me this look like, I'm going to kill you. I mean, it was that look of death, like a disgust, hatred. It was overwhelming. But yeah, I will tell you, there were things that you did not see, that they did not air. And I'm glad they didn't. Because it was bad. It was bad. And then people go back to Bobby Mackey's all the time, and they push and push and push the envelope. Why do you do this? And I always ask people why. And then they contact me and they tell me that I went to Bobby Mackey's, all hell's breaking loose in my house. I'm terrified. What do I do? Well, first of all, you shouldn't have gone there in the first place. Why did you do it? Because I was interested. Because I wanted to see it for myself. Well, now that you've seen it for yourself, and now you're experiencing all hell breaking loose in your own home, do you now understand why I've been preaching for 20 years? Leave this thing alone. But it was crazy. It was crazy. So yeah, it's in Kentucky. Now I will tell you, I'm not. The Ghost of Interest. The thing is for me, here's people ask me why, because I've done National Geographic, I've done History Channel, Travel Channel, A&E, I've done so many. I mean, coast to coast. I've done over 20 shows on networks. The reason being is because I wanted to, number one, get the word about that the paranormal clergy existed. I couldn't advertise something like that because it's a ministry that I created from scratch, in which we don't charge. So basically, we have teams all across the United States. And these teams, when we have a case in California or Texas or New York, we call them out. We say, hey, we have this situation going on, and we would network. We need you to investigate this case and see if you can debunk everything that's going on. So they go in to try to debunk it. That's their point. That's their goal. These are individuals who've been in the paranormal for a long time. Not everything is demonic, and they try to debunk everything. So I created this organization for the sole purpose of networking, because there was nothing like that 20 years ago. There was nothing. There was no network. So I saw a complete void that needed to be filled. And so that's why I started the Paranormal Clergy. So we have, like I said, teams all across the United States. And I eventually gave that Paranormal Clergy over to Rich Valdez, who's laity, and he's a demonologist. And the whole purpose is to build this community and then give it to laity and say, okay, now you run it. It's yours. The clergy is here to support that, not to lead, to support. And that's what I did. But I advertised for the Paranormal Clergy. That's why I did so many shows. Yep, I do teach demonology. You can go to bishopjameslong.com. Actually, I teach demonology, angelology, paranormal studies, and genealogy. It's all one course. The 4 courses into one. And you can go to bishopjameslong.com and I think click on the class link. I think that's where it is. So there we go. I have not. Oh, it does. I have not seen. I have not seen the show Evil, but I might have to check that out. All right. Your brother should not your brother should not have a Ouija board. Should not. Under no circumstances. So we're going to, sure, the first hour, I should say, we're going to talk about zombies here in just a second. And then after we speak about zombies, then we're going to open up to anything and everything related to the paranormal, to demonology, to possession, to any of the shows you may have, you watch and you have a question. Did this really happen? That really happened? I was on the Travel Channel, the Exorcism Live with Chip Coffey. We were there in 2015. We were actually at the Exorcist house, the real house in St. Louis, Missouri, where they asked me to perform the minor rite of exorcism. So we did that as well. So also on the History Channel, I flew to New York. I don't know when that was, 2010 maybe. And they had me on talking about the sounds of hell. That's supposedly, allegedly recordings of sounds of hell. But anyway, we'll talk about all that in just a second. I'm not allowed to go into details, but remember that April, and Mr. Producer, you should be aware of this too. April April 21st. I will not be in town. I will be in Los Angeles for filming. I can't go into details, but that's plenty of time. No, not the 21st, the 22nd. The 22nd. And that's actually my consecration to the episcopacy. That's the anniversary day. But anyway, that's April 22nd. I will not be here because I'll be filming. Okie doke. I'll talk about that later when I'm allowed to, but I can't. The Conjuring, parts of it. I have a dear friend. Her name is Andrea Perrin. As a matter of fact, Andrea is on the next show. She's after me, not on TikTok, but she's on KGRADB, KGRADB.com. And Andrea grew up in the actual Conjuring house. She knows exactly what happened. She has some books out there as well. And so you might want to check that out. I think House of Darkness, House of Light, House of Light, House of Darkness. I can't remember which one comes first. But I really, really encourage you to pick these books up, because unfortunately, there's a lot of things that the movie kind of obviously didn't do justice. So if you actually, I've actually had her on the show. She was actually on the show, and she was kind enough to jump on with us and talk about the truth behind The Conjuring and some of the things that maybe just quite didn't happen. So, but she's a sweetheart. She is just a great person. If you ever meet Andrea, you'll know her. She just radiates this positive energy. She's just pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Okay. And good evening to all you guys. Let's jump into our topic for today. Remember, after we talk about zombies, we're going to get into demonology, and I'll talk about the paranormal, some of the places that I've been to. We'll answer your questions, and we'll have a good time. Miss Wilma, I believe, is watching, but she probably has stopped watching now because she gets scared. She gets scared of her own shadow. I'm just curious, how many of you actually think that a zombie apocalypse could actually occur? Matter of fact, I posted that on my TikTok. Let me see. Hold on one second. Let me see what, I'm just curious what most people have said. Let me turn this down. Oh, we have quite a few answers. I posted it on TikTok. How many of you think that the zombie apocalypse could happen? This person says we are, you know what? Isn't it terrible that I'm getting so old that I'm telling you guys, it's terrible. Mark, you say me. No, never. Okay. Happy Face says we are already in one. Does it say when there is no room in hell, the dead will walk the earth in the Bible? I think a biological agent could turn people into what we know as zombies. Okay. It's already happened. Who knows at this point? Anything can happen. The Walking Dead taught me everything. Yeah. So there's several people have said yes. Yeah. Isn't that the truth? Age is a privilege. Amen to that. So there's some people saying no. Some people say, yeah, back drug. Yeah. Well, Nestor, listen to this. I have something on that. I have something on this one. This person said, no, never just fiction. Don't we already have it? I'm not ruling anything out. Can happen. I like zombie movies, but it's impossible. Yes, I do believe. This person, Isabella, says, yes, I'm married to one. So it's back and forth, isn't it? There's a lot of people who says yes. And with World War III, yeah. Yeah. Let me tell you this, guys. There is something. Here's the problem. Normally, I would have said no. The whole idea of a zombie apocalypse, come on, The Walking Dead, it's not ever going to happen. Hold on for 1 second, because that not necessarily is maybe the truth. Let's look at zombies first. Where did it originate? Well, the zombies originated in Haiti. It's a part of their religion. A priest, a necromancer, a Bokor summons the soul of a dead person, bringing the body back to life. Now, Bokors, it's a Bokor, they believe that they capture the spirit in a jar, feeding off of it. By harnessing the person's soul, the Bokor is able to control the spirit and uses energy to increase their magic. Now, this, I believe, is very dangerous. I don't believe they control the soul. Now, eventually, the Haitian religion made it over to the America and involved the religion of what we know as voodoo. Now, people say, well, there's no way. Well, hold on. What you may not know when it comes to zombies, the Haitian people, 80% of the population, still practice voodoo. And many are not afraid of zombies, but rather of being turned against your will. So remember, zombies are even mentioned in Haitian folklore with the Haitian word zombie, Z-O-M-B-I, meaning the spirit of the dead. So these tales showed voodoo priests who had the ability, allegedly, to resurrect the dead through the administration of a magic powder. And according to legend, In a Haitian, a zombie is someone who has annoyed his or her family and community to the degree that they can no longer stand to live with this person. They respond by hiring a bokor, which is a voodoo priest or priestess who practices black magic and sorcery, and turn them into a zombie. So this actually does occur in some parts of Haiti. It's a pretty scary thing. Now, also we see this in pop culture. Pop culture favors turning people into zombies by a virus, and the virus starts at a patient zero. It's spread through the exchange of bodily fluids or being bitten or coughed on. The exchange is very easy. Once the virus is in the bloodstream, according to this belief, then the virus makes it to the brain. So the virus shuts down large portions of the brain, mostly of the higher thinking portion that triggers memories and morality, and the body's healing capabilities are halted, leaving the body to slowly die. So the main part of the brain that still functions are large motor skills, the need to feed. Now, we know also the 28 days later, the rage virus, it starts with experiments. Here's the problem that I have really serious. I do have a problem with this. Scientists are currently right now playing around with viruses in labs that can be very, very problematic, unbelievably problematic, if they're not properly contained. And the scientist that is playing around with this particular virus and that virus, combining viruses to see what it does and how it reacts, and that person becomes infected, then that person then spreads it to 4 people to 16 people, 1632, and then that's boom, now you have an epidemic. Now, we did experiment on apes and chimps. And these chimps were exposed to violent images that causes psychological change and aggressive feral change in them. The animals are freed by an activist group, and the primates attack while being freed. So the primates were given a forced adaptation, environmental cause, and the adaptation is inserted in their DNA, causing it to be inheritable. So this leads to easier transmission from one primate to another. So humans are technically primates. We're able to be infected with other species. So this is dangerous stuff. Dangerous. We start playing around with these viruses. And I think that's when we are playing with fire. The movie I Am Legend, one of the, I think, a phenomenal movie. It stars Will Smith. The main character had the cure in his blood, and he had the adaptation that allowed him to survive. It's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, you might want to check that out. But people will say, well, there's just no way. The whole idea of a zombie virus, it can't happen. Hold on. Wait a minute. Maybe not true. There are several theories that could create a virus outbreak that would be similar to what we think of zombie might be. First, rabies. One person becomes infected with rabies, and the rabies mutates in the body, causing it to evolve and shut down more of the brain. Rabies are very similar to the zombie virus, but much less severe. It's preventable. However, we do currently have scientists that are mixing rabies virus in with stronger viruses to see how it affects the human tissue. If that virus is released, or if the scientist becomes infected and they accidentally infect others, we could have a hell of a problem on our hands. Spores also, it's a plant. Now, this actually does. This is true. What I'm telling you now is actually, this is not paranormal. This is what we know for fact. Spores, it's a plant with neurotoxins. It's inhaled by the host. So the spore multiplies and spreads through the body. The spores enter the brain and start to take over the brain. And this type of exposure is easier to pass on. It can become airborne, spreading through coughing, sneezing, easiest to spread. Of course, drugs as well. Bath salts. Bath salts are very dangerous. They degrade the brain, causing neurons in the brain to lose connection. And these faulty connections cause the brain to act differently and eventually evolve to psychological cause. This stuff we do know can occur. Some of the movies that I think are really pretty amazing is World War Z, I Am Legend, Walking Dead, of course, Shaun of the Dead, Living Dead series. One really very interesting movie is Warm Bodies. If you've not seen that, it's pretty interesting. It has a different take on zombies. It's a very interesting movie. Zombieland, 28 Days Later, Quarantine, and Evil Dead. There are some good books out there as well, and you can take a look at that if you want, but it's entirely up to you. Some people like to check that out, and some people don't. But there are actually cases. There are cases where people have behaved like zombies, and we can't explain them. We can't explain why. And we're going to talk about that in just a second, because that's kind of crazy. Look, it happens just about every zombie movie. A throng of reanimated corpse lumbers towards the farmhouse, shopping mall, pub, army base, whatever it might be. The zombies aren't dead, but they should be. They're relentless. They're oblivious to pain. They continue to attack even after losing limbs. And so obviously when we think of zombies, we think that's crazy. Well, like a lot of monsters, zombies have their roots in folklore. And according to some researchers, real events, as I mentioned, in Haiti, and we're going to discuss here briefly Haitian zombies. So again, Haitian zombies, they're very common in Haiti. Researchers study Haitian culture have related countless tales of bodies brought back to life by the Bokor, or the sorcerers. And these zombies are mindless slaves. They're not self-aware. They're not particularly dangerous unless fed salt, which restores their senses, which is interesting. Now, these stories are widespread. Again, we're talking about folklore, and they prey on the listener's deepest fears. So even after documenting numerous stories and rumors, researchers have found little solid evidence to explain or prove the phenomenon, but there's so much folklore there, so you got to look into this. So often the alleged zombies had received little or very little medical care. For example, there's a case in 1980. A man appeared in a rural Haitian valley. He claimed to be Clarvius Narcissus, which is who died in Albert Schweitzer Hospital in 1962. Narcisse described being conscious but paralyzed during his presumed death. He even seen the doctor cover his face with a sheet. And he claims that a Bokor had resurrected him and made him a zombie. That is what this guy claims. And since the hospital had documented Narcisse's illness and death, scientists view him as a potential proof as Haitian zombies. By the way, Narcisse answered questions about his family and childhood that not even a close friend could have known. Eventually, his family and many outside observers agreed that he was a zombie returned to life. That is crazy. That's uncomfortable. It's a little uncomfortable. Narcisse was by the way, the Zombie Project is a study of origins of zombies conducted in Haiti between 1982 and 1984. And during this time, anthropologist Dr. Wade Davis traveled through Haiti in hopes of discovering what causes Haitian zombies. So this is what he discovered. There is something called the Haitian zombie powder. And Davis traveled to Haiti at the request of Dr. Nathan Klein, who theorized that a drug was responsible for Narcisse's experiences as a zombie. Since such a drug could have medical uses, particularly in the field of anesthesiology, Klein hoped to gather samples, analyze them, and determine how they worked. Well, Davis learned that Haitians who believed in zombies believed that a Bokor's sorcerer, not a poison or drug, created them. So according to local lore, a Bokor, again, captures the victims or part of the soul directly connected to an individual to create a zombie. But during the research, Davis discovered that the Bokor use complex powders and that's made from dried and ground plants and animals in their rituals. Well, thank you, and thank you for the gifts on TikTok. Thank you. Davis collected 8 samples of the zombie powder in 4 regions of Haiti. Their ingredients were not identical, but 7 of the 8 samples had 4 ingredients in common. 1 or more species of puffer fish, which often contain a deadly neurotoxin called tetrodotoxin. Now, this is horrible. So this does exist. It's a marine toad also, which produces numerous toxic substances, a hyla tree frog, which secretes an irritating but not deadly substance, and then human remains. Ugh. So in addition, the powders contain other plant and animal ingredients like lizard spiders, which would likely to irritate the skin. Some even included ground glass. Now, the use of the pufferfish, that intrigued Davis very much. Tetrodotoxin causes paralysis. This is not science fiction. We know that the toxins in pufferfish can cause paralysis. That means you're catatonic. You can't move. You know what's going on, but you can't move. You can't scream. It is very much like sleep paralysis. So imagine if someone injected you with this and you couldn't move, you couldn't blink, you couldn't scream, you couldn't yell, you couldn't say stop. You were completely catatonic. That's terrifying. So tetrodotoxin, it causes paralysis. It can cause death, and victims of tetrodotoxin poisoning often remain conscious. They're completely aware until just before death. And the paralysis prevents them from reacting to stimuli. So you could touch their eyeballs, you could touch, there's nothing, there's no response. So you think the person's dead, but they're not. There have been people who have been buried alive, who allegedly had tetrodotoxin in their system. Yeah, it actually comes from pufferfish. I'm sorry, that would be terrible. That would be horrible. So doctors have also documented cases in which people ingested tetrodotoxin and appeared dead, but eventually made a complete recovery. So Davis theorized that the powder applied topically created irritation and breaks into the victim's skin. So you don't even have to inject it. And the tetrodotoxin could pass them into the bloodstream, and then paralyzing the victim, causing them to appear dead. So the family would bury the victim, and the Bokor would remove the body from the grave. And if all had gone well, the poison would wear off and the victim would believe himself to be a zombie. There you go. That is what happens here when we're talking about zombies. So while I agree with this, there are some controversies, though. At first glance, this research seems promising, but tetrodotoxin definitely causes paralysis and death. And researchers have documented cases in which people have recovered from near fatal tetrodotoxin poisoning. But it does, for example, some of the samples brought back to the United States also produced dramatic results when applied to the shaved skin of rats and monkeys. The subjects became lethargic, then immobile, but they eventually recovered completely. So other researchers, however, raised questions about the legitimacy of Davis's research and actual components of the samples he brought back from Haiti. But to me, this seems very logical, and it seems that I think that this is what's going on. And I think that's probably a very scary thing. Very, very scary. Yeah, even zombie slaves. Now, we see zombies appear in movies as early as 1919. And many people credit George Romero with setting the standard for zombies in the movie Night of the Living Dead. So Romero portrayed zombies as slow-moving, flesh-eating corpses reanimated by radiation from a satellite returning from Venus. The radiation affected the recent unburied dead, and the resulting zombies were invulnerable until someone destroyed the brains. So Night of the Living Dead, zombies were neither intelligent nor self-aware, and they had a very limited use of tools. So now, many movies and video games, they've used Romero's concepts of zombies, and again, some of them are very, very scary. But we also look at Shaun of the Dead. Kind of a funny thing. So if there's a big zombie attack, let's say, hypothetically speaking, that there is a virus that scientists are playing with in their labs. Folks, I'm telling you right now, scientists have viruses in their labs at this very moment that could completely wipe out civilization as we know it. Do you realize that? Right now, we have viruses they're contained, but these viruses are so dangerous, they could completely wipe out the human population. That's frightening. We have these viruses. They are active viruses. Keep in mind, also, when we go into labs and we start playing around with viruses and we start combining them with another virus to see how it reacts on human tissue, you're creating a brand new virus, and we don't know what this sucker is going to do. And if that gets out in any way, shape, form, or fashion, then we're in trouble. As a matter of fact, there are some people say we've already had that, which we're not going to get into which one, but there's many people believe, and I definitely am one of them that believes that have been viruses created. No question. There's just too much proof. So people say, if there is a virus like this, don't panic. Easy for you to say. Get away from the zombies. Gather food, water, emergency radio, flashlights, weapons. If possible, retreat to a mall or a general store. Avoid sheltering in a vehicle if you don't have the keys. Or just don't play with zombies. So let me ask you, how real is this? How real do you think a zombie apocalypse could be? Well, this is going to scare some of you, but there are cases right now that are unexplained, where it appears that this individual behaved as a zombie. I'm going to tell you some actual real cases that have actually occurred that we can't explain why. And that is very, very frightening. For example, there was a Florida college Florida college student. He stabs strangers and then consumes their faces. He eats their faces. Now, right now, Wilma's probably turning off the computer and gagging. But I'm telling you, the Florida college student went around stabbing people and then eating their faces. Folks, it's a zombie. We're talking about zombies. You can't be. This is not going to be pleasant. So here's the story. For those of you who don't know, this is a true story. This actually happened. Florida was already on the cannibalistic, possibly zombie-related attack map with the infamous Miami case, which we're going to talk about. But that was apparently not enough for the Sunshine State, according to this website. On August 2016, so this was recent, 2016, a 19-year-old college student, Austin Haroff, reportedly stormed away from a restaurant in Jupiter, Florida, where he had been with his parents, apparently upset over the slow service there. He then wandered into a neighborhood where a couple, Michelle Michonne and John Stevens III, sat in their garage with the door open, enjoying a quiet evening. Haroff pulled a switchblade on the couple, stabbed them to death. Apparently without provocation, a neighbor attempted to intervene and called 911, but was stabbed by the man as well. When police arrived, they found Haroff naked. This is important. This is very important. Don't forget that part. They saw him naked ripping away ripping away chunks of the couple's flesh and consuming it. He was growling, grunting, making animal noises. Repeated use of stun guns and a police dog could not sway Haroff from his meal. And finally, 3 officers had to pull the man away from the bodies by force. What makes this case, listen, everybody, what makes this case especially strange is that Haroff, prior to this bizarre crime, was a model student who seemed to have things pretty well figured out. It is reported that he had been hanging out with some of his fraternity brothers prior to joining his parents for dinner. Now, people are immediately going to say toxicology. He was on drugs. He was on this. Whoa, I have the report. His toxicology report came back clean. There was nothing in his substance. No bath salts, nothing, no PCP, nothing that would have made him behave in this manner. Nothing. That's the toxicology. Other test results for synthetic drugs, they were tested, and officials did say Haroff showed no other characteristics or symptoms associated with substances like flakka or bath salts. Nothing was found. Police were left baffled at Haroff's behavior. So was his family. Just what exactly did that prompted this man for the gruesome crime? We don't know. We don't know. Listen, what could it be, a demon? Well, see, that's the problem. Here's another one. Listen to this. This is the infamous Miami cannibal attack. Most of you know this because this was on world news because they actually captured this on video. The story was big news. It was in May in 2012, especially given the eerie footage of the incident that made the rounds on the internet. Miami resident Rudy Eugene, listen, stripped naked and attacked homeless man Ronald Papo, eating about 80% of the man's face. When police arrived at the scene, they were forced to open fire on the belligerent Eugene because they couldn't stop him from eating. He took far more bullets than in his body should have been able to withstand before finally dropping. Now, people are going to say, well, he could have been on PCP because if you're on PCP, you don't really feel the pain and it takes multiple bullets. Yep, that's true. It was originally theorized that Eugene had ingested bath salts or PCP. But here's the problem with that. You can look it up. The toxicology reports revealed only a trace amounts of just marijuana, a small trace of marijuana in his system. No PCP, no bath salts. Completely out of character for this person to do this. Totally out of character. That is just okay. If that doesn't make you think, Kevin Santos was pronounced dead at a hospital in his hometown of Belém in Brazil. The 2-year-old was placed in an airtight body bag for 3 hours while his family made preparations for his funeral. During the wake, family members noticed the boy moving. Santos then sat up, asked his father for a glass of water. The ecstatic family was let down, however, when only seconds later the boy fell over again. He was rushed to a hospital and declared dead for a second time. Doctors cannot explain it. In 1996 or 97, there was a very strange case observed by researchers in Haiti. So this woman, her name is Fee. She was around 30 years old. And when she died after a short febrile illness, was buried by her family the same day in the family tomb next to her house. 3 years later, she was recognized by a friend wandering near the village. Her mother confirmed her identity by a facial mark, as did the 7-year-old daughter, her sibling, other villagers, her husband, and the local priest. She appeared mute, unable to feed herself. Her parents accused her husband of zombifying her. He was jealous of her after she had an affair. And after a local court authorized the opening of her tomb, which was full of stones, her parents were undecided whether to take her home, and she was admitted to the psychiatric hospital at Port-au-Prince. It was later determined the woman likely suffered from catatonic schizophrenia. However, just how she managed to emerge from her tomb and wander home, that cannot be explained. That is just crazy. We've already talked about Clairvius. There's another crocodile. Guys, this is terrible. Good God. Crocodile is a horrible, 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 horrible drug. It is god awful. I've seen people from the effects of crocodile. I have never seen something like this before. I can't describe it. It eats the flesh to the bone. Oh, it's terrible. Crocodile is a drug that rose to prominence in poorer areas of Russia because of its potent opioid effects combined with the affordable and easy methods of which it's produced. There have been reports of the drug now cropping in the United States, which it is here. If the potency of crocodile was not alarming enough, its side effects are stuff of horror movies. I mean, true horror movies. The drug gets its name from the gangrenous effect it has on user skin, and it literally eats tissue and flesh from the inside out. This often leads to open sores, wounds on users' flesh that leaves their bones exposed. It can also lead to incoherence, jerking motions, shuffling, shambling steps. I mean, in other words, crocodile turns you to a zombie. Technically alive, but a zombie. I mean, really, if you've never seen, I hope you never see the effects of crocodile. It is a terrible, terrible, terrible drug. Terrible. Is it like leprosy? Well, see, leprosy is sort of, yeah. I mean, because but leprosy starts with the flesh, but it eats. You inject it. You inject this poison into your system, to your body, and it actually eats the flesh on the inside and then it pushes out. So it starts from. It's quite terrible. Unfortunately, you can go on YouTube, and you can see people. It's terrible. You can see people on crocodile. And it's quite frightening. But the cases that I have mentioned, those individuals were not on crocodile. They were not on any type of drugs. The Miami case, he had like a small trace of marijuana in his system, but people say, well, that marijuana could have been laced with PCP. It would have showed up in the toxicology report. There was no PCP. There was nothing in his system at all besides a small trace of marijuana. In the case of in the Miami case. Also, keep in mind that there is a thing called zombie ants. Did you know this? Zombie ants, ANTS. This actually exists. This is in nature right now. So that's kind of, I mean, it's in nature. Yep, you heard it right. There are zombie ants out there in nature afflicted by a parasitic fungus that biologically manipulates the insects into doing their bidding. So there's a Joseph Castro. He's on Life Science. He explains it this way: fungi, and I'm not going to call. I don't even know what that long word is. It's so-called zombie or anti-fungi. It needs ants to complete their life cycle. And when an ant comes across fungal spores while foraging for food, The fungus infects the insects and quickly spreads throughout its body. Fungal cells in the ant's head releases chemicals that actually hijack the insect's central nervous system. The fungus forces the ant to climb up vegetation and clamp down onto a leaf or twig before killing its hapless drone. It then grows a spore-releasing stalk out of the back of the victim's head to infect more ants on the ground below. That's occurring now. So that's what really is the scary part, isn't it? Because if you think about it's called zombie ants. You guys can Google this, look it up. It actually, matter of fact, I was watching on the Discovery Channel and Animal Planet as well. And I was flipping to the channel. I saw this and they were talking about zombie ants. I'm like, oh, I got to talk about this. So there's something now, currently right now in nature that makes another insect basically turn into a zombie. That is, that I can't understand. I can't understand that. But when you look at this and you think, okay, what in the world's going on? You have to kind of wonder, is something is happening? I mean, something is happening. And if it can happen, that's the thing. If it can happen in nature, then the scary part is it can happen in real life. And that's where we need to be very, very, we need to be very afraid of, because like I said, if it can happen in nature, then inevitably, you're going to have scientists will take this fungi, they will create it with another virus to see what it will do on human tissue, and someone will be sloppy with the work, and God forbid if something like that gets out. Yeah, it's kind of that. It really is. Yeah, it's crazy. And keep in mind, there's a thing, and you can look this up as well. There's a thing called the giant zombie virus. And that's what it's called, the giant zombie virus. It's actually frozen for 30,000 years. And it can still infect. So this is a website by Science News for Students. For more than 30 years, a giant virus lay frozen in the northern Russia. It's the largest virus ever discovered, and it's not frozen anymore. Even after so many millennia in cold storage, the virus is still infectious. Scientists have named this so-called zombie virus Pithovirus sibiricum. So Pitho virus. So this is what it is. And this virus is alive. We have discovered this. And when I say we, humans, we've discovered this. So, and it's in labs at this time. It's quite different from the giant viruses already known. Eugene Koonin told Science News, a biologist of the National Center for Biotechnology Information in Maryland, the word virus usually makes people think about illness. A virus can cause a wide range of diseases, from the common cold to polio to AIDS, but there's no need for people to panic about the new germ, allegedly. The megavirus appears to infect only other single-celled organism known as Moebius. This new virus can survive long periods in permafrost. Well, the problem is they can be infected in humans. And that's what we don't need. And I'm telling you, we play. I don't like this. We keep playing around. We're going to keep playing around with these darn viruses, and that's going to happen. It's going to. Here's the problem, guys. People say, "Well, it's in the lab." James, why don't you just calm down? Because the viruses that we don't understand can be used as a weapon. That's the fear. These biochemical agents, you create these horrible things, and you inevitably can have a dictator or a crazy leader, and use this on a large scale attack. So that is the very serious concern when you have this these viruses being played around on the in these labs. I don't know. You can think whatever you want, but I don't know. I just don't like this. I don't like COVID. Well, yeah. But yeah, we're not allowed to talk about that because we get in trouble. So, but yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. But what are you going to do? I mean, we can't control it. We can't stop it. So, but I do believe that we keep playing around with these viruses. We start creating these viruses in labs where we're going to get ourselves in some serious trouble. Some very serious trouble. Okay. So if you guys, we have a bio level in for Boston. A bio level 4 in Boston. Bio in Boston. Wow. Bio level 4. That's pretty, I didn't know that. Be serious. For those of you who don't know, the bio level 4s are pretty serious. We're dealing with viruses that are easily transmitted, and they can cause fatal disease. So these are very serious labs. So it's bio level 4. So you can check the bio levels, and the fact, that's oh God, I hope they don't mess that up. That would be terrible. Yeah, they have many bio level 5s. That's true. That is very, very true. Amoeba. There we go. Amoeba. Yeah, that's terrible stuff. Terrible stuff. Okay. Folks, just remember, if you're wanting to contact me, the best way to contact me is through Facebook. Facebook.com/Bishop James Long, all one word, Bishop James Long. Keep in mind, though, you got to be patient. I have 12,000 messages on TikTok, and I have over 800 messages on TikTok. On Facebook. So, and 8,000 messages on my email. So, guys, I'm doing the best I can. There's a lot of people that wants my help, and I understand that because a lot of people aren't helping individuals. They just refuse to get involved because they don't want to believe in the paranormal, or they don't think. But see, I've always said demonology is not paranormal. Demonology has nothing to do with the paranormal. Nothing at all. Nothing. We talked about zombies. Now, zombies, you can talk about the scientific aspect of it, and cases that I presented to you that I can't explain. Neither can science, doctors. But when it comes to demonology, you're not talking about. That's not paranormal. It's theological. And so that's I'm trying to teach that as much as I can to people. But anyway, I know a lot of people are asking for my help, and I appreciate, I'm doing the best I can. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I help with all denominations. Yep. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. A lot of people ask me about this. Okay. And what's scary is that they play with the so-called vaccines also and test them on us. Yeah, and they have in the past. Which is pretty frightening. Okay. The third, the prophecy of Fatima. Actually, they already said that was fulfilled. Did you know that? It was fulfilled by Pope John Paul II. That's, yeah. Well, you haven't heard of it? Are you a prepper? No, I'm not a prepper. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about Zach's personal faith and all that. That's his business, and it would be completely and totally inappropriate for me to talk about his faith or anybody else's faith for that matter, because it just, yeah, I stay away from that because out of respect for him. Yep. Well, I think you have to not necessarily be, I'm not terrified of it, but I think you have to be aware, so, what does it mean when you see an angel with what? I don't know. Well, look, I'm not, I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody because I believe in miracles, but I always look at the logical first. And if you're seeing angels, you're seeing demons, then I'm going to have to, my first response is, well, are you taking, and again, I mean this in no disrespect, because these are just questions that I would ask anybody if they're telling me they're seeing angels or demons. I would ask them, well, how do you know that these are not, that this manifestation is valid, that it's there? How do you know that it is not manifested through medicine that you're taking? Because there are some medicines that can cause hallucination. Is there a history of mental health? So there are so many things that goes on behind the scene. I don't immediately, especially when people say, well, I see a demon. The one thing I don't ever do is say, well, yep, absolutely, you saw a demon. When you start validating that, that can be very frightening to people. That can be very, very frightening. So you don't validate something like that unless there is conclusive proof that there's something going on. I will never validate. If someone tells me, and I've never met them, they're seeing a demon and it's interacting with them, you will never hear me say, oh, you definitely saw a demon. You'll never hear me say that. You won't. Because, and here's why, I don't know this person's mental background. I have no idea. I have no idea if they're suffering from psychosis. I have no clue. I don't know them. So therefore, I'm not going to accidentally, and I'm certainly not going to purposely, I would never feed into that psychosis, into making the person believe, an exorcist or clergy member says that I'm having a demon attacking me. Well, what I could be doing then if I did that is causing more problems. So for an exorcist or anybody, especially clergy, to validate that without having conclusive evidence really can do some severe damage to the person's psyche. And I don't do that. I believe it's wrong, and it's very dangerous, very, very dangerous. And you could, it could be, and the scammers too. There's certainly a lot of scammers going on, and that's unfortunate. But again, that does happen, and it's one of those things. You unfortunately, it's, what are you going to do? People are going to do it no matter what. They're going to try it, and they're going to push it. And so what do you, I don't know. You can argue for or against, but for me, I don't believe in doing this, and I don't ever want to cause problems like that on anybody. It's just something you don't do. So. Yep, you're right. Jeff, the problem, buddy, is the time. People, here's what people, the misconception is that people think that I'm on TikTok or I'm on social media 24/7. I'm not. If you actually look at my TikTok, you'll notice that I don't do a whole lot of videos. I might do a couple videos a week, and that takes a couple minutes. I just don't have time. I wish I did. This I actually check out on my schedule. Okay, these 2 hours are locked in, and then Wednesday the Bible study, Monday is the hanging out, Sunday is the do Bible study for everybody who missed on Wednesday. So yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy schedule. I wish I could, but it's one of those things. I try to do the best I can, but that's what you. Those guys ask for money, don't get anything. That you're right. Don't pay. You should never have to pay for it, ever. And just don't do it. And so I just, because that should be free. That should be 100% free. Nobody should be messing with this, and nobody should certainly ever be charging you. Never. Yeah. I wish I could hang out a little bit more. Okay. Yeah. Hang out Mondays. Yeah. Now, okay, let me talk about, well, I think, yeah, I have, Gary. I feel better, and I definitely feel a lot more energy. But let me just talk about some paranormal investigating, because I think that's important. Carl is the name. I appreciate you wanting to go live with me, my friend, but unfortunately I can't, because TikTok does not offer third-party applications to connect. So right now I'm doing a live show on TikTok, but I'm also doing a show on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch. So I have to run it on 2 different computers. And the people on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, Twitch won't be able to hear you. Okay. Yeah, time to resize. Yeah, it is. You're right. You're right. Let me say something about paranormal investigations, because it needs to be said. I've been saying it for 20 years. This is not new. I've been talking about this now and preaching about this. I mean, I talked to a fellow bishop, a friend of mine, and I've been preaching this for 20 years. When I go to paranormal conferences, I teach about this very issue. Paranormal investigating is dangerous. It is unbelievably dangerous. And I am really concerned with so many shows that are on television, and then people trying to imitate that because they want a YouTube or they want a TikTok or what they want, views and get likes and things of this nature. And they keep pushing the boundaries. They keep pushing it. They push the boundaries even more, even it doesn't stop, because they want to get that evidence. They want to get that one thing that goes viral. And we all know what I'm saying is true. They want to get that one proof. That one proof that there's something out there after we pass on, that there's something there. So it goes viral, their name gets out. Then all of a sudden they get calls from LA, and they get pitched for television shows, and finally they think they made it. But there's a price. There's a very, very steep price that you pay for getting involved in this type of activity. Here's the danger. The moment that you go out to a place, whether you know it's demonic or not, but the moment that you go out to a location and you have one of your devices, whether it be a recorder or whether it be pictures or whatever it is, and you begin to say, is there anyone here? Can you make a noise? Can you do something? Can you touch me? Can you push me? Can you? Okay, folks, what you have done is you have given this spirit or the demonic the invitation that it needs to connect to you. That is a form of summoning. I have to teach this. It is very dangerous. And this is not being taught on the paranormal shows, and it needs to be taught. It needs to be talked a lot more. That's why I told Zach a long time ago, well, here's my number. You're going to need it, and you're going to need it to call you. And he has. He has been through hell. He's gone through some serious stuff in his home. He's talked a little bit about it. I'm not going to go into detail, but I will tell you, he has really gone through some stuff. Folks, the deal is when you go out and you to a location and is there anything here? Can you say something? Can you do something? Can you touch me? You're interacting with whatever is there, and you don't know what you're interacting with. That's the dangers of being an investigator. There are consequences for our actions. And when you investigate the paranormal, you better darn well know what those consequences are. And people don't like when I talk like this. I've been in the paranormal community for a long time. I have friends that are paranormal investigators. I love them all, but I tell them all the same thing. I'm not going to change my tune just because I happen to be involved in the paranormal community. I've been saying this for 20 years. 20 years. You go out and you play a paranormal investigator, your intent may truly be, I just want to go out and I want to see for myself what's out there. I understand the interest. I get it. I completely understand that. I get the motivation and why you want to do it, because you want to find out, you want to document life after death. You don't have to document life after death. We already have it documented. It's called the Bible. It's already done. It's already been proven. Life after death exists. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of near-death experience stories where people were clinically dead and they've come back and they've told you what they experienced. I have told you, all of you, what I experienced in my near-death experience. I've had Dr. Jeffrey Long on, who's a world-leading expert and a medical doctor on near-death experience. I talked to him about my experience. He absolutely validated that something had that I flatlined during my, because I couldn't. For those of you who are brand new, very quickly, I had something done. My mom passed away in 2014. In 2015, I had a procedure done. I remember a very bright light behind this doctor. Unbelievably bright. A horrible noise going off behind me. For some reason, I couldn't turn around. It never dawned on me that I was the patient. Never dawned on me that I was in the hospital. But I saw this very bright light behind this surgeon. And he was panicked. He was panicked. And the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life came right up behind him, radiating. I can't describe the joy. I cannot describe the joy in this woman's face. The love, there's no words. I can't. The joy, it doesn't even encapsulate what. Nah, it's not even strong enough word. It was radiating joy and happiness. She looked at me and I looked closer and I thought, I know this woman. And this was not a dream. I know what a dream is. I was fully awake, fully aware. And I looked closer and I said, that's Mom. Oh my God, you beautiful, beautiful. The doctor was panicked. He was panicked. She slowly put her hand on his shoulders. He took a deep breath. He let it out. And I was wanting to help this doctor, because he was so stressed and I wanted to help him, not because I was the patient, because I didn't even know I was the patient. I didn't even know I was in the hospital, but I knew that this man was upset. And I thought, well, dude, it's going to be okay. He took a deep breath and he did something. He said something, and he pointed behind me, and that horrible loud, whatever noise was going off, it turned off behind me. And my mom, she looked at me, she smiled, and she faded away. The only thing I remember is when I was in the recovery room, my sister Jennifer was there, and I told her, I saw Mom. I saw Mom, Jennifer. I saw Mom. Jennifer said, Jamie, we know you saw Mom. You were screaming you saw Mom all the way from the operating room to the recovery room. You were screaming at the top of your lungs you saw Mom. That's important. I talked to Dr. Long about that. Dr. Jeffrey Long, he's not related to me. I said, what do you think about this? He said, James, number one, I'm a medical doctor. I do surgery. There's no such thing as dreaming in anesthesia. It can't, there's 0% chance. It can't happen. The fact that you saw your mom was in the medical field. The fact that she put her hand on that doctor, she was calming him down and helping him. And that when he said that really affected me, because I hadn't even thought of that. And he said, the fact that you were screaming, you saw your mom from the operating room to the recovery room tells me that you couldn't have faked that because you were still under anesthesia. So when you're still under anesthesia, it's not something you're consciously aware of, like, oh, I'm going to fake this and scream, I saw my mom. Nope, can't happen. It's a 0% chance. I saw my mother. I know what I saw, and it wasn't a dream, and I was screaming it from the operating room, apparently, to the recovery room, which I don't have any recollection. I don't remember that because obviously I was still out. But I know that I saw her. And I know that folks, many of you have asked me over and over and over about your loved ones, and do I think that they're in heaven? Folks, I'm telling you, I know. From my experience, I tell this story a lot, but I realize that a lot of you are first-time viewers, and you need to hear this. Yes, I do believe in heaven. And yes, I believe that if our loved ones believe in God and that they accept Jesus Christ, their personal Lord and Savior, I am convinced that they are in heaven. What I'm doing is trying to find the picture of my mom, because I explained this to my sister, Emily, and I told her what mom looked like. And I've never seen this picture ever in my life before until she showed it to me. And then when I saw that picture, I was just taken back. But I'm trying to find it as I scroll down here. She was just unbelievable beauty, just the beauty, the joy, the unbelievable joy in her, radiating in her face, in her eyes, and my God, all around her. There's no light that I can possibly describe to you that would describe what I saw. When I say a white, bright light, that doesn't cut it. I'm trying to find this picture so you can see. Not that any of you would know what my mom looked like before, but I always do that when I try to find this picture, and then I can't find the picture. I even took a picture of it when my sister Emily showed me the picture of mom. And yep, it was absolutely her. I mean, there's no question about it. So hang tight, everybody. Hang tight. I'm trying to find it. Just bear with me, because if I can find it, I'll show it to you. But if I'm able to find it, you would have to have the brightest light behind her and all around her. And it was just the brightest light. And of course, I can't find the picture when I need to find. Oh, there it is. So that's what she looked like, but radiating right there. But she was, even her face, her whole face was just radiating. But you don't have to go, don't go searching, don't go investigating the dead to search for your loved one. Don't do that. You don't need to. Leave that alone. I know that many of you just want one more minute. Just one more minute with your loved one. I know that. I know that many of you just want to hear the voice of your loved one just one more time. Just one more time. Just so that you can hear their voice. Just so you can hear their voice. And I understand that. Believe me, I understand that. I understand that more than you know, because I do have I keep when my mom called, I still have some of her. Well, hold on. I gotta turn the volume up so you can hear it. Well, I'll play it maybe one day, but I have her voice in the voicemail, because I sometimes just want to hear her voice again. But you don't have to worry. You don't have to, don't go searching for something, because they've never left you. Do you realize that? Your loved ones may have left you physically, but they are there with you spiritually. How is that possible? Well, because heaven exists outside of time and space. And I truly believe, I don't care what anyone says. I don't care. People say, well, that's not Catholic. Well, I don't care. I really don't care. I'm telling you, I absolutely firmly believe that our loved ones visit us. I absolutely believe that with all my heart. And they are just as connected with you in the afterlife as they are in the physical life. We lose them physically, but we never lose the spiritual connection with them. That spiritual connection remains. And I'm telling you that I firmly, absolutely believe that. Well, I'm trying to find it, but I can't. That does exist. Okay. As a matter of fact, I mean, Wilmy has even told me several times her father loved, I think it was Old Spice. I think that's what it was. And sometimes she'll smell Old Spice, and he's been gone for a while, but she'll smell Old Spice. I in all 30 exorcisms that I have performed, every single time when I start praying the Litany of Saints, when I'm invoking the saints above in heaven, I will smell roses. It is overwhelming. And my Aunt Mary, who loved roses, she would plant roses. And she told me, you'll always smell roses, I'm there. And I there's no doubt in my mind that my Aunt Mary's there. No doubt. None. I have no doubt about that. But folks, Mary Alice. But listen, I understand the desire, maybe even the need to want to go out and investigate. You see these things on television and you're thinking, well, maybe I can do that. Maybe I can investigate my home. Maybe I can take a recorder and then I can just hear my mom's voice or my dad's voice or my grandma or grandpa's voice just one more time, just one more, or my wife or my husband, just one more time. If I can just hear their voice, then I'll be okay. I'll be okay. No, you won't. No, you won't. Because the moment that you hear their voice, that one time you'll want to hear it again. And you'll want to hear it again and hear it one more time. And you hear it and, oh, good. Now I can, are you okay? Or what should I do about this? And before you know it, now you're wanting to have a long conversation with them. And folks, I'm telling you that right there, that is where it gets, the moment you reach out, the moment you think you're communicating with your loved one, that's the danger part. That's the very dangerous part, because guys, demonic entities, whether you like to admit it or not, I do not care. Demonic entities exist. They are cruel. They are vile. They are horrible. And they will most definitely take advantage of that moment of emotional weakness where you do things that you normally would not do because you want to hear your loved one's voice one more time, and they're waiting in the wings. They're waiting in the wings, waiting for you to give the invitation that it needs to communicate with you. And that invitation sounds like this. Is there anybody here? Can you make a noise? Can you do something? You've just given the invitation to a demonic entity to make communication with you. There it is. And that's a scary thing. It's a very scary thing. People ask me all the time, well, what about psychic mediums? I don't know. Look, I know friends. I have dear friends of mine who are psychic mediums. Willie Windwalker Gibson, he's a shaman. I can't explain his ability. It's amazing. My friend Chip Coffey, I cannot explain his it's amazing. I can't explain the medium's ability that helped the family find their loved one within 5 feet of where this medium told the police where they could find the body. I was there. I've talked about this story before. I can't explain that to you. I'm not a psychic medium. I can't tell you. And if I am a psychic medium, I've turned that knob off so fast. I've locked it and padlocked it and triple locked it, because everybody says, oh, everybody has the ability. Well, mine must be off and locked and padlocked and triple locked, because I can't tell you how they can do it. I don't know. That's a question you need to speak to them about. But I do know that there have been people that I have met. Chip Coffey is one of them, that knew things about my life that nobody knows. Nobody. And he was just talking to me in general. And I was just speaking to him, and I'm not going to go into conversation because it's a private conversation. But I was struggling with my mom's passing, and he called me. He said, "How are you?" I'm fine. I'm Bishop Long. I'm fine. How are you, Chip? Doing the pastoral. How are you? And he said, "Nope, I don't want to talk to Bishop Long. I want to talk to James. How are you?" I said, "Chip, I'm fine." He said, "How are you really?" And then we talked, and he said, you know me for a while, and I don't, and he does not do this it's very rare that Chip does this, but he said, I have a message for you, for your mom. I needed to hear the message. I'm not going to go into detail because it's personal, but I will tell you that was a very, very private and powerful moment. Very, very powerful. So I can't explain it. That is someone you'll have to speak to them. And I don't know. But you can argue all day long about if you want to use, I can argue theological, because if you want to use Deuteronomy, if you want to use Leviticus, if you're going to use the holiness code, we talked about this on Wednesday. If you're going to use the holiness code, then you need you cannot take bits and pieces of the holiness code. There's 613 rules in the holiness code. You cannot take one of them and then say that's wrong and yet not follow all the other 612 laws. It doesn't work that way. If you're going to take one of the laws in the holiness code, there's 613 laws to follow, which says that you sorcerer and psychic, and I've already talked about that a million times. But if you're not going to, you got to take all 613. That's how the holiness code works. You can't cherry pick. It doesn't work that way. But we're no longer under the holiness code. We're no longer under the old covenant. And so therefore that when people like to choose, there was a person who talked to me the other day about how they turned away from God because there was a Christian church. They said some horrible things in the middle of service. Now get this, in the middle of service, this pastor began preaching against people who had tattoos and how it's the devil and it's Satan and that they're Satan worshipers. And here's this poor person sitting in the pew, and clearly, his tattoos are visible. They're nothing satanic. They're people of his family and his loved ones and things like this, and saying a quote that he loves, scripture quote, by the way. But this pastor is sitting up here condemning people who have tattoos to hell. And he's turned away from faith. He turned away from faith because that affected him so much. He was embarrassed thoroughly in church because everybody could see his tattoos, and he ended up walking up and leaving. But see, again, this pastor takes one part of the holiness code that, by the way, had nothing to do with that, but one part of the holiness code and judge and condemn someone, and yet he himself was not following the rest of the 612 laws. That's a hypocrite. You can't do it. You cannot. If you're going to preach one of the laws, then you better darn well follow all 613. Because if you don't, I'll call you out on it. So anyway, pretty sad. It really is very, very sad. But what are you going to do? Okay. Yeah, I'm leading into demons and possession and kind of talking about that already. So, but yeah, it is sad. It's very frustrating that people will do that, but unfortunately they have, and that's just the way it goes. And yeah, someone is asking me why do the Catholic churches use incense for Mass? Well, because actually in the Old Testament, God commanded his people to burn incense in Exodus chapter 30, verse 7. By the way, incense is a sacramental. And we use this to venerate, to bless, to sanctify. It's the smoke. It conveys a sense of mystery and awe. It's a reminder of the sweet smelling presence of our Lord. So its use adds a feeling of solemnity to the Mass. So we use that as well. And so there's also scripture offerings as well. So that's why. All right. Yeah, the show is people use to stink. Yeah, but when I'm at Mass, I like we call it in the seminary the smells and bells. I mean, but the Dakota, they use it for something else other than purification. Yeah, so definitely a purify. They don't use it as a purifying agent. So I'm not a big fan of them. So there we go. Yep, you're right. There are bad people in every religion. There truly are. Yep, you're right. I'm getting a message here on Facebook about angel rankings. Well, really, there is a belief in the Crystal Angelic hierarchy. There's several different theologians that will argue with this. And what makes more sense to me is that I think that there are three rankings within the angelic realm. There's the highest order, the middle order, and the lowest of ranking. It doesn't mean, when I say lowest ranking, it doesn't mean it's inferior. But the highest ranking was the seraphim, cherubim, and thrones, which, by the way, many people believe that Lucifer was a seraphim. And in the middle ranking there, we call the dominions, virtues, and powers. And finally, the third realm, instead of ranking, if you prefer the word realm instead of ranking, it's principalities, archangels, and angels. So that really is the three realms of angelic beings. All right. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why you tried donating to the ministry and you couldn't. I'm not really for sure. I'm not 100%. I don't know why. That's kind of strange. You know, let me just, someone's asking me this. Demons, are they a invention of the church? The answer is no. They are not an invention of the church. And anybody who says that obviously is trying to diminish the existence of demons, and they're really misleading people, which is very dangerous and stupid to do. Demonic entities are not a creation of the church. Keep in mind, the Septuagint existed long before the church. Well, I shouldn't say long before the church, but the Septuagint is the Greek translation of the New Testament. We know through writings of Josephus, who is the Flavius Josephus, who was a first century historian writer. He was a Jewish historian writer. He talks about Joshua of Nazareth. He talks about this Messiah, that many people believe that he was the Messiah, that he cast out demons, that he healed people, he did perform miracles, that he was crucified, and he, in his writings, that people claim his followers claimed he was resurrected. We know that demons exist far before the Roman Catholic Church was established, because Christ himself established this ministry. Remember, it was Christ who said, who told his disciples to go and cast out demons. So the idea, well, so what if you're Christian? What if you're Christian about what? I don't know. Well, Gary, when you say, what if you're Christian? What if you're Christian about what? But so the idea, please, the devil exists, really? Okay. Was it Carl who asked that question? Yeah, Carl. Yeah. Carl, let me, I'm going to answer this question directly to you as well as to everybody else. Now, Carl, I am not telling you this to be egotistical. I'm not telling you this to be arrogant. I'm not telling you this to blow my own trumpet. Carl, I have a doctorate in ministry. I have a master's of education. I have a master's of business. I have a master's of divinity. I went to Sullivan University and graduated with a 4.0 summa cum laude GPA. I'll show you my transcript if you want to see them. I have a master's of education from Argosy University. I went to Loyola University in Chicago, and I studied with the Benedictines in St. Meinrad, Indiana. I don't charge one penny for this ministry, and I've been doing it for 20 years. And I perform 30 documented exorcisms on people who are validly possessed. And I spend more than 40 hours a week on this ministry in which I don't earn one dime. My friend Carl, let me tell you something. As someone who has a doctorate and 3 master degrees, I would be doing something else with my time if I did not know that possession existed. That I can tell you with 100% certainty, I would do something else with my time. I promise you, I truly would. I don't make a dime for this ministry. I never have, and I never will. I've never charged one penny going out to people's homes and blessing their homes, and I'll never charge ever to perform an exorcism. If I did not know that possession exists, I swear to you, I would do something else with my time. I cannot. What I have witnessed and what I have seen during an exorcism, I cannot logically explain these things away. I just can't. I am a skeptic by nature. When someone tells me that they're possessed, okay, I'm sure. Okay, all right. Yeah. You saw a TV fly across the room. I am very, very skeptical, and I have to be, because I get thousands and thousands of emails and requests for me to help people every single week. I just went 12,000 emails on TikTok, over 800 on messages on Facebook, and 8,000 messages on email. My friend, listen to me very carefully. I could spend a full-time job, 40 hours a week at least, just answering those emails. That doesn't include going out to people's homes and then bless them for free. I can't explain the contortions of the body. I can't explain how I can't explain away how a person who's under the stage of possession would have the gift of prognostication or retrocognition. I can't explain that away. I can't explain the eyes going solid black. Certainly you can say, well, that could be a neurological condition. Yes, it could, as long as the temperature change didn't go from 90 degrees to 70 degrees, and there's without any explanation at all. I can't explain, like the contortion. I can't explain them mimicking the voice of my dead aunt. I can't explain how the markings would appear on the body after I use the oil and blessing on the forehead. I can't explain that away. People say, well, the person could be allergic to it. Okay, they're not allergic to holy water. So, Carl, I can't explain those things away. And when you see those things and you experience them, it changes you completely. And you realize that you truly are dealing with something very ancient. And that if you're not prepared, and if you're not fully prepared psychologically, spiritually, emotionally, then you need to stay away from this ministry. But I can tell you, Carl, and anybody else, anybody who thinks that the demons don't exist and Satan doesn't exist, friends, you don't realize that the devil has already beaten you. And that's frightening. The moment you begin to say demons don't exist, the moment you begin to say Satan exists, doesn't exist, that is the moment that Satan says, thank you. I've done my job. Do not listen to the bull that you see on social media. Do not listen to the bull from people who go around saying that the devil is all a creation of the church and that demons are all a creation of the church. No, it's not. No, it's not. Jesus spoke about demons before the Roman Catholic Church even existed. Do you not understand that? You search for demons. Then don't be surprised when you hear the flap of their wings. You play with this. You toy around with this, and you don't think that they exist at all. Demons don't give a rat's behind what you believe. They don't, as a matter of fact, they prefer that you believe that they don't exist. That is their preference, because then all the work is done. Because you don't believe that demons exist. It's all figment of imagination. It's a church just using control, manipulation, trying to control people, to scare people, to put money in the plate. That is a lie. Because Christ taught about demons before the Roman Catholic Church was even here on earth. And the moment that you begin to deny that something exists is the moment you begin to think there are no consequence for your actions. Do you not understand what I just said? The moment you begin to deny that something exists means you then agree that there are no consequence for your actions. So you can go out and paranormal investigate and provoke and invite and do all kinds of things because you don't think that there's any consequence for your actions, because demons don't exist after all. Keep believing that. Do you know how many cases I have had to work from people who claim to be atheists? I can tell you that the file is huge. They're no longer atheists. I'm telling you this, guys, because how much do you think Bishop Long is getting paid for this show? Answer the question. How much is Bishop? Nothing. I've been on the almost for 2 hours. Do you think that I get paid for doing this? I don't get paid for doing this show. There's no producing agency that's paying me $500 an hour. This is not a network show, so I'm not getting paid $5,000 or $10,000 an episode. This is me coming on telling you what I've experienced and what I have seen and telling you the dangers of what I have seen and experienced. And the only thing I can do is I try to teach people, but I'm not here. I've said this a million times. I'm not here to convince you that demons exist. I'm here to help the families who know they do. And I hope and I pray to God, my prayer is for all of you that you will never have to ever experience true demonic attack. Those of you in this chat room right now, whether it be, well, thank you, Justin. Whether it be for those of you who are on YouTube, Facebook, or anybody who's listening, or TikTok, how many of you have experienced what you would consider a demonic attack, whether it be demonic infestation, objects, religious objects are desecrated, bangings in the wall, scratches, biting, pinching, hitting, God forbid, even possession. I'm just curious, how many of you have experienced this? Look at how many people are saying that they have. On TikTok, it's flowing. How look at all this. I mean, they're just constant. So all these people are lying. They have no reason to lie. Well, yes. I mean, my gosh, a few people said no. I mean, really, absolutely have. I mean, my gosh. So this should tell you right now what I'm telling you. Don't take my word for it. Look at all these people who are saying that they've experienced this. We have got to stop. We've got to stop with sensationalizing, investigating, and doing it for fun, doing it just to find out what's out there. What are you going to do when you find out that there's something there? What are you going to do then? Call Bishop Long? Folks, I'm doing the best I can, but I can't promise you that I can help you. I'm inundated with so many people already from TikTok already. I've had several, I don't know how many people ask me to help them just during this live. I've got thousands of requests and I'm only one person and I do it for free. So I can't get to everybody. I'm trying to teach that this type of stuff is so dangerous that there are very few clergy out there that are helping people. So stop doing it. You don't need to go out. You don't need to search for ghosts. You don't need to do this. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Because you don't know what you're communicating with. That's where the dangers are. You have no clue what you're speaking to. You have no clue who you're speaking to. And if you think for 5 seconds that you're going to outsmart a demonic entity that has been around for millennia, you are sadly mistaken, because the demonic will trick you and use every tool in the toolbox. And before you know, you don't even know you're being toyed with. You have no clue. You have no clue you're being toyed with. But before you know it, now you're having a conversation with something that a child. You think it's a child. That's not a child. You're not speaking to a child. You're speaking to a demonic entity that is reeling you in. And it is, folks, just stay away. Stay away from it. A lot of times when you paranormal investigate, many times, and if you're an investigator, you know what I'm talking about. Many times when you investigate, this is what happens. Silence. Can you make a noise? What's your name? Silence. Sometimes things happen. Things will fall. Noises will happen. Oh, did you hear that? You go right towards it, don't you? Right towards it. Oh, can you make that noise again? You've just given the invitation. It's a form of summoning. Leave it alone. Because what you see on television many times is not what happens in reality. And while you're there, is there anyone here? Can you make a noise? And nothing is happening, and you're getting frustrated. And before you know it, then you're beginning to really get angry, pumping your chest out. How dare you to do something? How dare you to touch me? How dare you to hit me? You've given the invitation already. And how many times have I said this? I've said this before. You pump your chest out. I dare you to do something. You're not so tough. I dare. The demonic is literally inches from your face, smirking. Oh, I'll do something. I'll do something when you're lonely and you're depressed. You lose your job. Your wife, girlfriend, or boyfriend or husband leaves you. You're sick. You can't pay your bills. Then I provoke back. And that is how they operate. And that is dangerous. Remember, they can wait. You got to remember that they exist outside of time and space. So 30 years to them is a blink of an eye. So they can wait 30 years. So what you do today affects your tomorrow. So you could accidentally go out and investigate and accidentally invite and nothing will happen. I knew nothing will happen. I knew this was a junk. I knew that Bishop Long was lying about this. And then 10 years later, you don't even think about it anymore. 10 years later, when your husband or your wife leaves you, or your boyfriend or girlfriend leaves you, and your job is done, your health is terrible, that is when the demonic says, oh, by the way, that invitation you gave me 10 years ago, I think I'll take it on. I'll accept it now. And then you call me or someone who does this ministry, and we tell you, oh, I'm already working 300 cases. Can you call this person? Folks, leave it alone. Okay. Leave it alone. I cannot tell you how many times I've gone to a place that's allegedly demonically infested. And then I said, is there anyone here? Can you make a noise? I command that you make your name presence, because as an exorcist, I'm forcing the entity to manifest. That's my job, to perform the minor rite of exorcism. There have been many times in recordings that nothing has happened. And then when I go back and I listen to the recording, then I hear something that was not there, that I did not hear. And we call that EVP. And that has happened many, many times before, many times. And I cannot tell you how many times, my goodness, listen. We pray, say, Michael, the archangel, defend us in battle, be our protection against the malice and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him. We humbly pray, and do thou, Prince of the heavenly host, in the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all of the spirits who wander the world seeking the ruin of souls. This is from the Gates of Hell Cemetery. Nothing happened. Didn't hear anything. I felt something.
Is there anyone here? Are you friendly?
That is what happens when you play with fire. May Almighty God bless you in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Remember, my friends, I always tell you that your value does not decrease based on someone's inability or refusal to see your worth. You are priceless, and never let anyone tell you otherwise. The Sacred Division has been brought to you by Bishop Long's online paranormal course. Learn demonology, angelology, paranormal studies, and genealogy. It's 100% online, and you learn at your own pace. Please go to www.bishopjameslong.com and click on the paranormal course link.